When I met Tait, my first record deal was going bad. It was not going well. And so things were going bad. And a lot of people wouldn't know this, but Brett, you know this because you knew me at the time. I had 4-year-old twins
Right.
and I was a very young father and I was desperate. All I knew how to do was that. And so Tait comes along, and so here's sort of my thinking process at that time. um, CCM megastar sees me. He sees talent in me. He sees marketability. He wants to help me. He's going to make my career go great. And so that's amazing. That's what I saw. Like he recognizes my talent. He recognizes the marketability. He sees that I'm desperate. He sees that I'm in need. He sees that, and he can help me. Therefore, this is amazing. I can't believe what's happening.
Now let's pause right there. Did you really catch what he just said? A young father with 4-year-old twins at the lowest point in his life, his record deal falling apart, no stability, no clear future. And then, who shows up? Not just anyone, but Michael Tait, the CCM megastar, a man with fame, power, and influence. To a desperate young musician, that looks like salvation. It looks like a door swinging wide open. But was it really a blessing, or was it something much darker in disguise? Because when a man in that position steps into the life of someone so vulnerable, you have to ask, what were his true intentions? That's the part that makes this testimony so chilling. It forces us to look deeper, to question whether this was genuine care or the first signs of a very dangerous pattern. I want you to hear the rest for yourself, so let's roll the full clip.
When I met Tait, my first record deal was going bad. It was not going well. And so things were going bad. And a lot of people wouldn't know this, but Brett, you know this because you knew me at the time. I had 4-year-old twins
Right.
and I was a very young father and I was desperate. All I knew how to do was that. And so Tait comes along, and so here's sort of my thinking process at that time. CCM megastar sees me. He sees talent in me. He sees marketability. He wants to help me. He's going to make my career go great. And so that's amazing. That's what I saw. Like he recognizes my talent. He recognizes the marketability. He sees that I'm desperate. He sees that I'm in need. He sees that, and he can help me. Therefore, this is amazing. I can't believe what's happening. Or that same scenario, Michael Tait sees that I'm desperate, sees that I need help. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that he could help me, and he has that power. And so I look at things like he would show up and drop off Memphis Grizzlies jerseys to my boys just out of the blue. He would pick them up and take them to Spider-Man. He would talk about how, oh, the CCM people, they're going to love your cheekbones kind of thing. Kind of like they're going to love that jawline. When he would hug me, he would do weird things like bite my shoulder. We just thought it was Tait being weird. No one, very charismatic guy, like I said before,
Right.
but nobody thought he wasn't weird. He was
Well,
eccentric.
yeah, he was a musician too, so that
Yeah. And so
factors
there's a
in.
lot of eccentric people that are musicians.
Oh yeah, it's the thing.
And so I'm even my own brain reframing some of this stuff.
Right.
Was it genuine care, or was I being love bombed? But there's now one of the accusers who, like I said, again, I believe is a victim that I actually knew, that he was hanging out with Tait at the same time I was.
At the same
And
time. Wow. Okay.
at the same time. And
Okay.
so there were situations where we were in the same scenarios together. And so when that person says things like Tait had a rule that there was no clothes in his jacuzzi. If you wanted to get in, you had to get in naked. I was there, and I was always the guy's like, who has 2 thumbs and's not getting that jacuzzi? This guy. But,
That was the account of a struggling musician who came in contact with Michael Tait. And let's be real, his story could have gone much further. But maybe the only thing that protected him was the fact that he had a wife and 2 little kids waiting at home. He couldn't afford to hang around late into the night, and that distance may have saved him. But even in the short time he spent around Tait, the red flags were everywhere. Think about it. Bizarre hugs, biting shoulders, inappropriate comments about his looks, and then that infamous jacuzzi rule. No clothes allowed. This isn't just eccentric. This is control. This is grooming behavior, hiding in plain sight. And here's the part that makes your stomach drop. He says he wasn't alone. Another person, another alleged victim we've already heard about, was there at the same time. That means these weren't isolated moments. These were overlapping patterns. So we have to ask, when people inside Tait's world saw these things, what did they really think was happening? Did they honestly believe it was just harmless weirdness? Or did they know something darker was going on and simply choose silence? Because this testimony matches everything we've been hearing in the wider allegations. A megastar, using his fame, his charm, and his influence, not just to open doors, but to trap vulnerable people in situations where he had all the power. And what's worse, the cycle only worked because people around him let it happen. The industry, the insiders, even those close enough to witness it firsthand, they didn't stop him. They didn't speak out. And that's why the question keeps echoing louder and louder. Who knew? And how long did they stay quiet? And that's just one voice, one man who saw the red flags up close. But here's the thing, he wasn't the only one watching, because the more you look, the clearer it becomes. People around Michael Tait had to notice something, which brings us to the question everyone's been asking, what about the people closest to him? Did they really not know? When the news about Michael Tait's double life first broke, it shook the Christian community to its core. For a moment, people thought, nah, this can't be real. It felt like one of those rumors you brush off, until Tait himself confessed. And not just confessed, he admitted a lot of it was true. That's when the real question started buzzing everywhere. Did his bandmates know? It's been one of the hottest debates in YouTube comment sections. Newsboys tried to make it clear. They said they had no idea and only found out when Michael sat them down in January. But let's be honest, the story he told them back then wasn't half as detailed as what's been surfacing since. And here's where things get even more explosive, because in one comment thread, someone claiming to be the wife of a Newsboys member stepped in, and she didn't sound shocked, she didn't sound blindsided. Her words? She called it the same old Michael Tait. Same old, not new, not surprising, not unbelievable, same old. Which means at least some people inside his closest circle saw the patterns long before the headlines ever hit. So the question becomes unavoidable. If even the wives could see it, how could the band, the managers, the entire industry act like they were clueless? Now, let's take a look at what she actually said. I've been married to Jeff from Newsboys for 25 years. He's been in the band for 31 years now. Man, I am doing the same thing, where I'm thinking back on Tait's actions and questioning them. I always chalked it up to him being eccentric and immature. He's such a charming, friendly guy that just showers everyone with love. He was always so nice to us and to our kids. They loved him. He was lazy and irresponsible and selfish at times, and Jeff actually talked to him many times to try to get him to shape up. We did not know what he was really doing. I know that's hard to believe from an outside perspective, but he hid what he was doing so well. Tait had girlfriends and was even engaged at one point. Literally 8 months ago, he was talking about getting married. I saw him maybe 2 times a year. He always told me how much he loved my family and how he wished he had gotten married and had kids. I have seen people say that the band kept him around to keep the money rolling in. The reality for the guys in the band is that Newsboys is not a crazy high-paying job. Jeff works multiple other jobs as well in order for our family to survive financially. There is no way the band guys would have allowed him to stay if it was known about. There is no way he would have been hugging my children if we had known. Not for any amount of money. There is evidence that can be shown to demonstrate the guys didn't know, but I am not sure when or if that will come out. Please just pray over this situation. I know we are all cynical from seeing things like this play out in ministry over and over. Jeff and I are both pastors' kids who have had to heal from the harm the church caused us throughout our adult lives, so we get it, the disbelief. Pray for everyone involved. So many lives have been harmed by Tait's horrible actions. When you read comments like these, it really gets you thinking. This isn't just a random fan online. This is a woman claiming to be Jeff's wife. And Jeff has been in Newsboys for over 3 decades. She drops some heavy insights. She admits she always thought Tait was just eccentric and immature. The kind of guy who was charming, friendly, showered people with love, and was great with their kids. But at the same time, she describes him as lazy, irresponsible, even selfish. She says Jeff had to talk to him many times about shaping up. Still, she insists they had no idea what was really going on behind closed doors, that Tait was incredibly good at hiding it. Now, here's where it really makes you stop and think, because she also says, this was the same old Michael Tait. And if it was the same old Tait, doesn't that mean the patterns were there all along? The odd behavior, the questionable choices, the red flags? She even points out that just 8 months ago, he was talking about getting married. At one point, he was engaged. This man was living 2 lives, and the people around him, even those closest, never connected the dots. But that raises the uncomfortable question, how? The band was with him constantly, touring, recording, sharing life on the road. They saw the drinking, they saw the struggles, and yet the claim is that no one suspected a deeper issue. Some outsiders have called this an open secret. Meanwhile, those closest say they didn't know a thing. So which is it? Ignorance or willful blindness? Because one thing is clear, when even the families are now looking back and questioning what they saw, it proves the signs were always there. The tragedy is, too many people decided not to see them until it was too late. So here's where we land. From insiders who brushed off Tait's behavior as eccentric, to band members' families now admitting they're second-guessing everything, the question just won't go away. Who knew what and when? Because if fans online were already whispering, if accusers were circling back years ago, and if wives are now connecting dots in hindsight, how could the people closest to him not have noticed sooner? And that leads us to the bigger question we'll dig into next. Was this just Michael Tait's secret, or was the entire Christian music industry complicit in protecting him? Stay tuned, because the deeper we go, the harder it gets to believe this was just one man's double life.